This is easily the fastest way for you to cycle your saltwater aquarium without depending on the little gimmicky bottles. So if you follow my channel, you might have seen my previous video where I decided to cycle my tank with a little piece of, two little pieces of rubble rock from my local fish store. Basically, I got it from the sump of one of their grow out systems, and it was in the dark. So I got it from the very bottom. The guy there said it's probably been there for 6 months to a year curing, and there were 2 tiny little pieces. So if you want to cycle your tank the fastest, this stuff here may or may not work. I'm not advocating against it. I'm not advocating against Fritz Turbo Start. I'm not advocating against even stuff like tried and true Microbacter 7. I think Microbacter 7 is probably really, really good anyway. I recommend you use it. But this video is about the fastest way to cycle your tank. So in my experience, having seeded my tank with those little pieces of rubble rock basically made my cycle 10 times more efficient, at least 3 times more efficient, because what would normally take me to cycle a tank 3 to 4 weeks, I'm probably going to be done within maybe 10 days. So let me explain to you what happened. This 20-gallon all-in-one tank here, like I said, I put a couple pieces of rubble rock that were curing in a dark area of the sump of my local fish store. And so on day 1, I decided to put ammonium chloride and some nitrifying bacteria. And normally what I do is after a day or 2, I will go and check the ammonia levels. And in this case, it was 2 ppm. But then after I check that initial ammonia level, I just leave the tank alone for a few more days. And then I start monitoring nitrite, because I know that after a week or so, nitrite should start peaking. There should be a big spike in nitrite that lets me know that the tank is cycling the way it should. This time, however, there was 0 nitrite, and we're now over a week in and there's still 0 nitrite. So that led me to I believed either the tank was not cycling, or because we went bare bottom, the cycle was going to take forever, and that's not the case. So what I ended up doing is I kind of started scratching my head and I said, let's test ammonia. So ammonia was at 0.5. So it definitely went down from 2 ppm to 0.5. That told me that something in the tank was consuming the ammonia. So the next logical thing to do was to check nitrate. So then I went and tested nitrate, and lo and behold, I had 5 ppm nitrate. So what ended up happening is, because I seeded the tank with those microorganisms, that bacteria that was in those little pieces of rubble rock that had been curing for all that time in that dark sump, basically I skipped a whole section of going from ammonia to nitrite, and I'm just basically going straight from ammonia straight into nitrate. So the tank is going to be cycled a lot faster. This means that as soon as my ammonia hits 0, I basically won't have any nitrite, because I've never had nitrite in this tank, and it just went straight into the nitrogen cycle. So if you want to cycle your tank faster, this stuff may or may not help, but honestly, I recommend you go to your local fish store, ask them if they have any rock that they've been curing in their sump, preferably from a dark place. That way you have less chance of having photosynthetic organisms, and ask them how long that rock's been there. Try to get it from wherever they tell you, maybe the bottom. That's probably where the rock has been curing the longest. And try to get some rock that's been curing for at least 6 months. Take that rock and either put it in your sump or put it in the back of your all-in-one. Or you can even do your whole aquascape with those wet rocks that have been curing there. If you do that, you're basically going to skip everything, and you're just going to have an established tank right off the bat. I highly, highly recommend you go that way. Just some things to look out for is make sure you don't get any pests. That's the only drawback of this, is you could potentially get pests. This tank has been, it's been a week. I've been cycling it with the lights on because I really don't care. I haven't had any photosynthetic organisms or any kind of pests pop up, and I went with the pieces of rubble rock. So just make sure you inspect the rubble rock really, really well. Even you can probably dip it as well before you place it into your sump. And honestly, what I'm thinking is this tank is gonna mature a lot faster than any of my previous tanks. I have a hunch that I'm gonna be able to add Acropora in this tank as quickly as 6 months because of the fact that I basically started it with some pieces of rock that had been already matured for 6 months to a year. So it's gonna allow me to skip a lot of the uglies. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of videos. Well, actually in the next couple of months. If seeding it with that rubble rock skips all the uglies like cyano, if it makes my tank less susceptible to cyanobacteria, dinoflagellates, turf algae, all of those nasty things, then that means that we should all be cycling our tanks with curing rock. I think that's somewhere where the hobby needs to start moving towards and start moving away from quick fixes in little bottles that have like some really outlandish claims saying, you know, you can add fish on day one. Like, I don't think a solution in a bottle is gonna make your tank like insta-cycled. I've never had that. Every time I've used just nitrifying bacteria, my tank cycles always took like 3 to 4 weeks. And now I'm gonna be a week in with just those little pieces of rubble rock. So I hope this helped you. Anyway, let's head over to my local fish store and go check out what they have. What's up, guys? We're out here outside of Pisces Fish and Coral. This is my local fish store. We're gonna go inside and take a look at what they have. We actually came to get some water from the local fish store because, you know, I'm lazy and I don't like to mix my own. So we got 2 jugs. What do you think, Michael? Look at those ones.
Oh, look at these.
Those are snails. What do you think of the clownfish? Are those Nemos?
Oh, I see Nemo, the baby one. Nemo.
It's beautiful, huh?
It's Nemo.
Tiny little Nemos, dude.
Those
Which
ones
one?
are the best.
That's the one you really like?
Yeah.
What do you think of those anemones there?
Oh, these guys?
No, the things that are like flowers.
Oh, they look good.
Mason,
You don't like them?
yeah, grab a net and for the corner.
Those are called rock flower anemones. Should we get one for our tank?
Yeah.
We should?
Yeah.
Should take that one right there, huh? It's beautiful. Look at the red colors.
Yeah.
Oh, the arrow crab?
Yeah.
You see the arrow? It's so hard to see it, but there's an arrow crab right there.
Clownfish.
You like the clownfish? Those are big, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what those are called.
I don't know.
Should we get a pair of clowns like that, Mike?
Yeah. Even the favorite ones I want.
They fit in the 9s. The 9s on the bottom are a little bit bigger. The 9s in the box?
The cool.
So these are all the corals. Those ones there, those are all alive. You see them in there?
I don't see it. Oh.
Those are all corals, Mike.
Fast swimming ones.
Yeah.
I know those fish.
I love coming to the store because the coral is always so healthy, clean, there's no pests,
I don't know why, but that big old.
there's no aptasia anywhere, it's just nice.
There's a silly fish.
You like that?
It's big old. Oh, look at that
That's a
one.
trigger.
Look at this one. It's a big old.
So I think my tank is almost done being cycled, and I decided to come here so I can take a look at the corals, so I can start eyeballing some of them to see which ones I'm going to want to put into my tank. I really like this fish store because, as you guys can see, there's no pests and corals are really healthy, clean. Their water quality is awesome. I've never had any issues with pests buying from this store. So if you're in the beautiful city of Rancho Cucamonga, California, in SoCal, I highly recommend you come to Pisces Fish and Coral. Probably gonna get some Euphilia. I'm gonna ask them if they have any gold torches, because I would love like a New York Nyx gold torch. But even something like this, like look, $60 for a giant piece of Euphilia. It's a really good price. Maybe it's a giant piece of Goniopora. This one's $60 for that giant piece of Goniopora. It's such a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really eyeballing mushrooms right here. See if I can point to them. That red orange color just looks beautiful.
It's just I really want.
So we just got back from the fish store and look what we have here. Got a nice big package from Bulk Reef Supply. Let's open it up and see what's inside. Looks like we have a bucket for water changes along with a suction gravel vacuum. Even though we have a bare bottom tank, I guess we'll just use it to drain water out of there. We got a couple of bottles of Neophos, Neo Nitro in case our nutrients are low. Always good to have that stuff in hand for emergencies. Little bottle of Roaphos, also good to have in emergencies. I found this to be like the most gentle on your aquarium. A lot of the generic GFO or even the one from BRS kind of strips too much phosphate real quick and it kind of shocks the system. This stuff's real gentle. I've had a lot of good experiences with it in the past. It's just a bucket. This is the stuff that we're going to need to be doing water changes with. I'm probably going to do 5 gallons a week. That should be enough to replenish alkalinity for the time being until we start dosing. We also have a a glass scraper. The Nano Flipper Float should come in handy. And then we have a bunch of salifert, phosphate, magnesium, and calcium. And then, of course, we had to get the Hanna DKH meter. Every reefer should have this. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know what this does. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. We also got this nitrate. I already opened that earlier because, as you saw, I'm testing my water. And yeah.